Today on DC News Now, DC's mayor and council just announced a new labor agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, as well as pay increases for non-union officers. The details ahead. Some Maryland residents bracing for the closure of a neighborhood grocery store, and they're worried it could make getting access to fresh food a challenge. Another cool start to your day, but a warmer Wednesday afternoon. But how long will the good weather last? Meteorologist Damon Maxson is tracking your weather. Then thousands of pages of documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein have been released, but lawmakers remain divided over how many files should be made public. And a DC man getting the opportunity of a lifetime and walking away with more than $100,000. Why his startup is a major win for the DMV's tech scene.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Shanika Grimshaw. We have a lot of stories to get to, but first, new today, Mayor Bowser announcing a new contract for DC police officers. It comes as the forces continue to battle with staff shortages and thousands of hours of police overtime. DC News Now's Marielle Carbone is live outside of MPD headquarters. And Marielle, we're looking at a pretty big raise for officers here.
Yeah, Shanika, officers, sergeants, lieutenants, and higher will be looking at a 13% raise starting on October 1st. That puts the starting salary for officers at $75,000. Now, this boost in money, it's an incentive to recruit more officers. I know you mentioned the staff shortages, but also to retain the officers that currently work for MPD. So looking at the numbers, right now the force sits at nearly 3,200 officers. That is well below the city's goal of 4,000 officers. Now, this shortage, it's led to a huge amount of overtime for officers over the last few years, and the police union has been really vocal on this issue of staffing and argue it's part of the reason that led to the need for the federal surgeon officers to come in and assist. Now, the mayor, she says that this is one way she's hoping to tackle the issue in staffing.
We're going to make sure that Washington, D.C. is the best big city to be a police officer. These pay increases are part of a larger comprehensive strategy to recruit and retain and reward our officers.
So the mayor also saying today that she's planning to increase the take-home vehicle program for officers that live here in D.C. And those hiring bonuses we've talked about in the past, as well as living assistance, also will continue as part of recruitment. So this still needs a vote by D.C. City Council. They're expected to take that on September 17th through an emergency vote. Chairman Phil Mendelson saying today that he believes there should be no issue in passing this new contract. Reporting live from MPD headquarters, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
All right, Marielle, thank you. Now, turning to ICE agents, they continue to detain people in the DMV, and one church in Northern Virginia teamed up with a local artist to mark sites where people have reportedly been detained by agents. Pastor of Arlington Presbyterian Church paired with an artist to create the stickers to bring awareness to an issue they feel has ripped families apart. The stumbling stones were Holocaust victims, and they were taken by Nazis. While stickers have been placed on just several blocks, those behind them plan to expand to dozens more.
Only put down the South Arlington stickers for now. The place where ICE has taken people from, can we have the last word as the community? And can that last word be a word of care and hope?
It is a sense that there's a story here, and maybe they wonder, what's the story?
Now, these stickers comes months after Arlington unveiled stumbling stones of their own, but to mark where people were enslaved. And the takeover of the district's police department and the use of federal agencies to protect city streets continue into another week. That has created a frenzy over a must-have item. There are just a handful of small DC flags available at the True Value hardware store on 17th Street in Northwest. And a manager told us customers are buying them following the president's actions last month. The surge in flags sales have surprised employees.
We actually hadn't carried them for several years, and I don't remember what it was like several years ago, but it wasn't an overwhelming requirement.
And more DC flags have been ordered and are expected to arrive over the next 2 weeks. We did a check with several other hardware stores around the district, and they have DC flags as well, but supplies are running out fast. All right, it is now 12:05 on this Wednesday. Meteorologist Scott Sumner joins us with a check on the forecast. And good afternoon, Scott. Scott, it is nice, but I know that's not going to last.
No, like all good things here, Shanika, it will not last, unfortunately, but at least today, for one more day, it'll be dry here in D.C. It'll also be just a touch more humid and also a little warmer as well. Right now, we're sitting at 77 degrees at the noon hour, and we'll see temperatures top out here by mid to late afternoon, getting into the lower 80s here in the district before falling back into the 70s and eventually into the upper 60s around the midnight hour. Currently, the dew points are reasonable. They are in the 50s, which means it's comfortable outside. Annapolis just a tad warmer there at 62 degrees, but still not terrible. We'll see an improvement here, or certainly in a rise of humidity as we go in towards Thursday. And of course, we wait for this front, the first of two, to push through the area. This one that's across Milwaukee and Chicago. That one's going to move through tomorrow. So as a result, we're under a marginal risk of seeing some severe storms, with wind gusts being the biggest threat during the course of the day itself. So looking ahead here, we've got variably cloudy skies today, slightly more humid night tonight than we had the last couple of nights, and some afternoon storms on Thursday. We'll talk more about the full forecast with the 7-day coming up. Shanika?
Scott, thank you. And at least one federal agency is now able to chase suspects in their cars if they try to escape. It's a massive shift that goes against what D.C. police have been doing for a couple of years now. And U.S. Park Police rolled back restrictions put in place after the highly publicized 2017 chase and shooting death of a Northern Virginia man named Bijan Gazar. D.C. News Now's Max Marcilla shares details about the policy and the pushback it's giving.
This new park police policy was put in place very quickly after the federal surge and the crime emergency was announced in D.C. Now, this policy is a major shift from what D.C. police can do. We'll show you what the potential impact could be. These are two pictures from two crashes following a park police chase, both happening in August since the crime emergency was announced. The Washington Post reports since the federal surge, 6 of the 10 park police chases have ended in crashes, though it's unclear if anyone was seriously injured in any of them. Advocates are warning there are potential consequences, as D.C. is now a city where local police have much tighter restrictions regarding when they can chase a suspect than some of their federal counterparts. You'll hear from a safe transportation advocate in D.C. about his concerns, but first, the Secretary of the Interior about why this is a good policy to implement.
They had so much fun. They pulled people over. They started to take off. They chased them. They stopped them. The bad guys in the car said, you're not supposed to chase us. Like, you're breaking the rules.
They want to go after the quote unquote the big bad guy, on the street. But at the end of the day, they're going to kill. They have a potentially of harming that child crossing a crosswalk. They have a potential to harm that family crossing a crosswalk, or that innocent bystander crossing a crosswalk.
Some of the people who were chased and then arrested by park police are facing charges not only stemming from the chase itself, meaning reckless driving or eluding police, but also in some cases for things including firearms and drugs. Now, this new policy is only temporary. It will remain in effect until the crime emergency in D.C. ends. It could end as early as September 10th. Reporting in Southwest, Max Marcilla, D.C. News Now.
All right, Max, thank you. Turning now to Virginia. Virginia State Police released the ID of a woman killed over the weekend. Troopers say Tynika Strickland went off the road Sunday morning on 495 near Alexandria. They say her car hit the guardrail and then the exit sign. What led up to the crash remains under investigation. And Maryland Governor Wes Moore is signing an executive order to increase the state's housing supply. He spoke during a press conference today in Columbia, and Moore says the order will help Marylanders get more access to home ownership.
So at a time when we have a White House that is raising prices on everything, from food to energy, Maryland is lowering the cost of living.
Yes. During the summer, Maryland released a report on housing needs in the state, and it shows housing production has not grown since the COVID-19 pandemic. Also in Maryland, New Carrollton residents are bracing for the closure of a local grocery store that is set to close next month. For a long time, local customers, they say this decision comes as a major blow, and the store closure will not only affect shoppers, but store employees as well. The closure of the store will create food access challenges for some, especially for those without cars.
Heard a lot of people who work here, they have lives, they have family, they have bills, you know, and my joy is to come here and knowing everybody, just saying hi to them.
Now, the future of the site remains uncertain after the store leaves, but local shoppers say they hope another grocery store replaces it. And if you're thinking of retiring or already retired, listen to this. Wallet Hub has the best and worst places to retire. Wallet Hub compared the best places of more than 180 U.S. cities across 45 key metrics. The data set ranges from the cost of living to retired taxpayer friendliness to the state's health infrastructure. Number 1, best place to retire, that's Orlando, Florida. Number 2 on the list is Scottsdale, Arizona. And if you're wondering where the DMV sits on the list, that's Columbia, Maryland, and they rank number 23. And Richmond, Virginia sits at 26th best, and DC ranks 46 on the list of best places to retire. How about that? All right, coming up on DC News Now, a possible wreckage from January's deadly midair collision, and that washed up along the Potomac River. The details ahead. Plus, a new program is bringing more affordable housing to Western Maryland, how it's helping Hagerstown. You're watching DC News Now at noon. Stick around. We'll be right back with more.